further away than they are in the UK in terms of doing anything with that information and acting on that information. So technology is good, and technology in different guises is working really well, and in some guises isn't working too good. But it's just beautiful just to see that, yeah, the technology, fast, high fibers, fast broadband, and things like that, yeah, they're talking to each other, and long may it last.
I hope they leapfrog. I hope personally that they leapfrog, or the Caribbean leapfrogs the technology that we have here in the UK, because I know most of Europe is although we're on 5G right now, other places are on 6 and 7.
Mm,
You see, so obviously their communication abilities, right, or technological development abilities are far more efficient than what we are here in the UK. Unfortunately, it would appear like the UK are really the poor people when it comes to technological availability. We are way behind other places, although they brag and boast that they are the industry leaders. The thing is that I know for a fact that UK is the industry leaders in technological development,
mm,
but what is available to the public
mm,
is way behind the market.
mm.
you know.
The rollout's a different conversation,
Mm, mm,
a different animal. And
mm,
it's surprising that you say that, because I heard about, in terms of traveling to and from Jamaica, I would hear about the 3G and the 4G at the
mm.
time when we were still in the UK. It was okay, so what's a G? Forget about the numbers. What's a G? It
Exactly.
just didn't. It just didn't commute. It
Mm,
didn't make sense. And I'm thinking to
mm,
myself,
mm,
okay. So when I was looking on the phone when I was over here, and it would come up with the little element, the little display that said 4G, and I thought, okay, didn't know what
mm,
it meant, didn't have a clue.
mm,
And at that time, we were still on 3G in the UK.
mm,
But because Jamaica's so close to the US, what they
mm.
say, if the US sneezes, the rest of the world catch a cold. Well, it comes real rapidly over this side of the water. It must be because it's so warm. It just comes over
Yeah.
rapid.
Mm,
So from a technology point of view, yeah.
mm, mm. But anyhow, we have plenty of developments out here and everywhere. So,
Hmm.
but in essence, we are we are we are still part of the development stage and developing era. You know,
Mm, mm,
emphasis. We are part of that, right?
mm, mm,
Schools, and what we have available to us,
mm,
right, is that we can access the information, but
mm,
unfortunately, many of us are not utilizing it to its optimum.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
We're still
mm,
we're still we're still playing games in preference to making gains.
mm, mm, mm,
So that is one of the things that we have to realize and possibly change our attitude and our outlook towards. Like
mm,
how do we actually develop ourselves? You
mm,
know, are we actually taking the time to, or putting aside a time to actually work on our development?
mm,
Which is absolutely vital
mm.
in many cases here.
Mm.
So yeah. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. There is that, because there's always, you'll often advertise in the courses that will help. And we may think to ourselves, oh, well, that's not applicable to me because I'm in the wrong age range, or that's
Mm.
not applicable to me because I'm too far away.
Yeah.
So we come up
Yeah.
with a bag of excuses.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have got that technology called a mobile phone. Most of us can access the internet on the mobile phone. But YouTube can become one of the universities that can help us with the technology
Mm-hmm.
if we're prepared just to do a little bit of reaching out. If we're
Mm-hmm.
not able to come out of our house, or we don't know where to go, or etc. etc. So it's I'm probably of that generation where I think to myself, I don't need to know. And then you get to a point where it just makes things so much easier when you do know,
Mm-hmm.
because it just, you can skip along rather than walk, and you can keep up with the technology rather than walking behind the technology, figuring it out.
Well, the thing is that life is always an evolving process, right? And just like when I when I was younger, we never had no mobile phone, right?
No, no,
So imagine
no.
imagine now if I just stayed in that mode of, oh, I don't need a mobile phone. What I need a phone for,
Mm,
right?
mm. I remember those
Now,
conversations. I remember
right,
those conversations when I thought to myself, what do I need a mobile phone for? And they
exactly.
used to have the brick that used
Yeah.
to be have a little cord extension just to pick up
Mm,
the frequency, and sometimes there was even a little cord that plugged into the phone to the car.
mm,
So if you're in the car, you used to plug it in.
mm,
And I
mm.
thought to myself, wow, I what do I need that for? Those phones
Exactly.
actually can knock you
Exactly.
out. They're going for
Right.
good money
And
now.
they were like thousands of pounds and
Yeah,
all them
yeah,
type of stupidness there.
yeah. You
Uh,
could have put it in your pocket and hide. Everyone
mm,
knew you had a mobile phone because of the way it was, the weight plus the
mm,
look and the style.
mm. Yeah,
But
So like even with that, like that scenario there, right? If we don't move along with the development of our technological understanding or upgrade our understanding of technology, life will just leave us behind,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because life is going to develop no matter what we do.
Mm,
Life will change, right?
mm,
There will be a time like my observation over the last year, right?
mm,
How many people actually carry cash on them,
mm,
you know?
mm,
And the thing is that it's usually people of my generation that
mm,
we still yearn for the tangible cash in our
mm,
pocket,
mm,
right?
mm,
But eventually they will phase it out,
mm,
right?
mm.
Because you got youngs who are there and they're in a shop, right? And they're taking up their mobile device,
And tapping.
right? With all the information on this mobile device,
Mm-hmm,
right? And access to everything that they have, they know, passport and medical record and everything is all on that mobile device,
mm,
and they're using that to what? Boom,
mm,
right? And
mm,
then that's their passport to their monies and everything else.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
So in many ways, it's let's say, and even for the different types of currencies now, because obviously they have this digital currency
mm,
now, right?
mm,
Some of us, they don't even know about it,
mm,
right? They hear
mm,
about it, right? But
mm,
they don't even know all them things work. But there
mm,
are people who are actually make living and living within that, using that currency, right,
mm,
as a viable way of purchasing,
mm,
investing,
mm,
and building their lives around it. You
mm,
know,
mm.
so I heard yesterday. I don't know if you heard that news though, but there was a bank, and it's predominantly covered. It's one of these digital banks,
Mm,
predominantly covered by investors in the Silicon Valley.
Yes, they've been talking over this
Yeah,
side.
and apparently it's either going into liquidation
Yeah.
or that it needs bailing out.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I think wow, look at that. And because it's one of those digital, I think it's one of those more digital bank than an actual. That is one of these online banks. Sorry,
Mm.
online banks. So they deal with both types of currencies and that. So
Mm.
obviously one of their legs is broken in there,
Yes.
and
Yes.
unfortunately it's affecting a lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, yeah.
It's it's just, for me, it's just a case of being mindful of the times and recognizing that we can choose to
Mhm,
stay outside of the box, but because we're living in the matrix,
mhm,
we're actually we need to be mindful of the moving parts within that
mm,
matrix.
mm,
And if
mm,
we're making a choice, be comfortable with our decision, but don't get frustrated when the rest of the world have moved on and you
mm.
still want to queue up and go to a bank and speak to a teller, because there's less and less and less of those tellers.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
know I used to get frustrated if I went to a bank on the high road, a big bank on a high road on a Saturday,
Mm,
and there were no tellers.
mm,
They can deal with the instructions and do anything over the phone and make an appointment for Monday, but there's
mm,
no tellers. And I'm thinking to myself, but you're a bank.
mm,
But
mm,
then when I go into the bank and I look around, the way that is configured
mm,
isn't like what I remember. There's more machines than people.
mm, mm,
And even the line for the teller, whereas before there used to be like booths and 6 booths pre-COVID,
mm,
we've only got the one booth, the 2 booths, and that's,
mm.
like I said, on a Saturday.
And all they're doing and all they are is a key holder.
Yeah. And you think to yourself, wow,
Yeah.
things have changed. And a few times I went up there because I couldn't get up there during the Monday to Friday, and it had to be Monday to Friday between the hours of 9:30 and 3:30, and it's very strict on the timings. And if you got there at 3:15, they weren't letting you in unless they were working out how long it would take for you to be dealt with. And if there were already 2 people in the bank,
Mm,
you got at 3:15, they're telling you come back tomorrow when the bank open. You think to yourself, or go use the card. That's what they're, and I'm thinking, wow, what if you are choosing not to? If you're choosing not to,
mm,
effectively, you're not
mm,
what you're not on the daily 9 to 5 grind, because you can't afford to say, um, you've got to have the time. And if you're on the nine to
mhm,
five grind, you've not got the time.
mhm. Yeah, yeah. One of the things I haven't reviewed it completely yet. No, we had a budget from our government here in the UK,
Hmm.
and uh, let's say there's a lot of empty promises. Empty promises. I feel
Hmm. Hmm.
because a lot of them, like how they used to when you had a budget, they would literally come within the month. The changes
Hmm.
would come in a month. Now they're talking
Hmm.
about, oh, these will be in 2024.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So
Okay.
so in other words, oh yes, we put this in place, but it's not going to happen until 2024. Right. So in other words, as I say,
Hmm.
it seems like an empty budget that way, in my opinion. But
Hmm. Hmm.
it's how they want to roll the dice, and obviously
Hmm.
anything could happen between now and then.
But
And of
yeah.
course, if anything happens between now and then they say, oh, we'll have to rethink what we were saying then, and da da da, and half
Hmm.
the things will be
Hmm.
forgotten about all this.
Hmm.
let's say they've said some words. They've said some words. That's about it, really. They said some words. And the thing is that the world is in a financial crisis. You know, if it affects you in that way, if you're an investor, or you're trying to even hold on to some monies, you know, it is a very, very, very difficult time for everyone right now, you know. So, and you have to be cautious about it, whether either if you have money, or you are in a position to earn, or if you are a pensioner, right? And you have other businesses and everything, you just got to be right on your board. In other words, mind your own business, right? I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean to take care of your business. Keep your eyes on business and everything else. So mind your own business. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they were speaking yesterday in terms of the Jamaican Parliament, and they were the show that's normally on the evening, whereby they will be talking about the current affairs. They were listening in on the Jamaican Parliament. Now that's at 5 o'clock, so it must have been I believe it must have been a recording, because I refuse to believe the Jamaican Parliament are still sitting at 5 o'clock, 5:30, and 6 o'clock. But they may have been. But every announcement and it is a budget. So every announcement that Andrew Holness, the Jamaican PM, was saying, and he even used the word, this isn't a chaka chaka. And I'm thinking to myself, even my mother had to laugh when she heard him using the Jamaican colloquialism in of the Houses of Parliament. But everything that he would say, then there would be a round of applause. So I was just getting around I know that you may agree with what he's saying, but the round of applause just distracts from the seriousness of what he's saying. For me, as an outsider just listening in, just tell me what you're telling me.
Exactly.
And let's not do the theatrics.
Yeah. They're trying to come and say that I am still acquainted with the people because I can speak like them.
Yes.
I know their pain.
Yes.
Although I haven't suffered it myself.
No, but he would argue. He argues that he brought up in a tenement yard, if I'm thinking I heard correctly, or a housing scheme, equivalent of a housing scheme.
Oh, the housing scheme, yeah.
So
his parents probably owned it as well, but no, I don't know. No. I'm saying that, but I don't know. I don't know that.
No, he's and very similar to the UK when we say, okay, some of the prime ministers, they didn't automatically go to Oxford or Cambridge. They came from, I think Margaret Thatcher was one, and there were other prime ministers recently in the UK who came from or grew up in an ordinary, in quotation, environment, rather than the Oxford, Cambridge, and the private schools, etc. So it was interesting, but I'll just look at the paper and see what comes out of that. Because very similar to you're saying in terms of the UK government putting aside or putting in place the changes of laws and regulations that's going to come in the future, which means we become complacent as human beings. The longer we have to think about something, the less chance it's going to be at the forefront of our memory, which means we're not necessarily going to act upon it straight away, because we've always got time. It becomes I can sort it out tomorrow. I can sort it out tomorrow. And that's where they've fallen down with the legislation from the Traffic Act, which they spoke about last year, came into place probably the summer and back end of the summer, for a Traffic Act that's coming in 6 months, the 1st of February.
Another one.
And yeah, it's doesn't work, to be fair.
The way how they did, well, I know last month they did change up the things, and then boy, it was like they had roadblock to go pay off tickets and all them things there.
Yeah, that was, and they're saying they're going to increase the number of buildings where you can pay off traffic fines. So they obviously recognize that there's money to be had in their hills, and we're going to make provision above and beyond what we've currently got.
Because they might collect money.
Yes. We need an extra window to collect that money.
Yeah.
Don't want digital on that one. We want an extra window with a man and a bag being able to put the money in. But yeah, it's interesting. They're talking about increasing it to make it easier for individuals who are caught out by the various Road Traffic Act and the changes within the Road Traffic Act. They can go and pay in person at a number of additional sites across Jamaica. However, if I contravene, and if I do, and this is the thing that gets me, if I'm driving over to Mobay and I do get caught speeding along the highway, and I get caught in St. James, or I get caught in St. Anne's, the fact that I live in Portland, I can't pay for the traffic ticket in Portland. I need to go to where I was charged. I go to pay the traffic ticket, and you think to yourself,
oh my gosh, so you have to make double journey.
Yes. Technology hasn't caught up whereby I can do it in my own hometown. I've got
but surely they must have an online payment service. No?
As far as I'm aware.
Oh my gosh.
No, this is a man standing up. So those who like to stand up in queues, got plenty of them, depending on which choose which queue you want to stand in. But yeah, but I'd have to go to St. Anne's, or I'd need to go to St. James, depending on where I.
Well, that is ridiculous in itself, isn't it? Come on now. Because all they're gonna do is just stand at the border and just say, "Yo, all this." They're just be handing them out like confetti. They probably couldn't even print enough tickets to give out. They couldn't even print enough.
No, it's and it's probably from a technology point of view, that's one of the areas of technology that hasn't yet caught up. But they are starting to catch up in terms of some things are doing well, and some things are slightly pulling up the reins.
Because I know, so when I've been there, when I was driving, I'll get pulled at least every other day. Every other day, they just, yeah, and then they want to friend you up. Soon as they come with the friend talk, you know what they want to buy.
But I used to think that was something that happened this side of town, in terms of wanting to friend you up. But someone of that mentality, as long as you've got their power, you will abuse it. If you've got that mentality. So you do it in the UK, but you just do it in different ways. And it may not necessarily be the police, but it may be in an office, it may be in parliament, it may be politics. And if I think about the 3 years or 2.5 years or 2 years definitely of lockdown, and the parliamentarians telling the rest of the world that yes, you need to, telling everyone in the UK, yes, you need to stay in your home. You can only come out for essential, which is to the supermarket, which is in a radius of A, B, or C. You can't be living in Croydon and go to the supermarket in Edmonton because there's no need, because you'd have passed 6 million of them before you got to Edmonton. You've got to have your bubble, blah, blah, blah. But then they were still having their parties. They were still meeting and congregating. They were still driving from London all the way up to Scotland and justifying it because they needed to test out the car. And to people in power will circumvent the system to suit themselves. And it's not only happens over here. It's just, do I have the power, and can I, if I'm that way inclined, I will abuse it accordingly. So I laugh at them, but I recognize that, yeah, it's a power tip. They can abuse it over here with the lunch money or threatening you up. But in the UK, they'll abuse it in different ways. The MP's expenses is another way of saying.
Yeah.
What do they tell us? And when we look at it and think to yourself, hang on a minute, what's that? Hey, you sure?
Yeah.
You're thinking, okay.
They just claim for everything.
Yeah.
Claim for everything.
Yeah. And they were claiming for some of the things that you think to yourself, no, you shouldn't be claiming. Shouldn't be claiming. I'm fixing your wall. Why am I fixing your wall and renovating your house for my taxes? Why? Explain to me. Oh, because you want to live at number 11 rather than number 10. But hey, everyone else has lived at number 10, so you live at number 10 as well. No.
Well, then again, as they always say, it's the law.
Yes. It's there's nothing written that says I can't do. So the fact that I can't do means I'm going to push the boundaries.
Take the P, in other words. Yeah, take the P. All right. Yeah. We're coming to the top of the hour now, right? So let's have a little break, and then we come back with some spiritual. We're talking to spiritual upliftment now.
Okay.
You know? We done lambast the system and its woes. So let's bring something into this now, right? So we can do some upliftment.
Yes, some higher vibration.
After break.
Why
Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller. Yes, okay, we got you now. How you doing, my brother? Morning. I'm doing blessed. I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. You know that. Yes, she is. She's still with us. She's still with us.
Can't hear them.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't think people really appreciate, this doing it, because as much as she's doing some presentations, and how push her. Don't push. We're gonna push her in the right direction. Mm. Man, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, man. Listen, life is a challenge, and if you don't see the challenge, you're just gonna be stuck there and dead, yeah. Mm. That's right. Dr. Aubrey are going to take over at 9 o'clock. Probably,
political journey for the last going 7 years is going to be not much left, but then put some corrected I'm thinking. So what I was doing now, sometimes I look at the physical situation with Jamaica 30 years. I mean, we could easily say the PMP party was in power for at least for 30 years. So he's been there for the last 6 or 7 years, I would say. And on the international board scale, Jamaica has been doing very good financially in terms of the way it's been growing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of that also.
Yeah. Oh yes. The financial aspects of right. It's not that they're hobbies. Unfortunately, what they're doing also is that they're also selling the access to a lot of the land, right? Which is obviously going to be an impact on the people of Jamaica. And what's going to come out of that, right? Is that they're going to make these super cities where those who have invested more often than not is not going to be the people of Jamaica. They may go there to work and service those places, but they won't be actually residing in any large numbers at all. So that is my the ethicity of what Jamaica is going through in their political moves, right, towards the island of Jamaica. It really does not really move to the development of Jamaica and maintenance as Jamaica for the future of Jamaicans. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's like even now, sitting on it, see the potential, because we are thinking people, right? But obviously they're thinking of financial and wealth, in that way, right? I mean, like number one for me is that Jamaica is a jewel of the Caribbean. It has the ability to literally reproduce itself tens and tens of thousands of times itself. In effect, I think the calculation years ago, where if all the agricultural land was actually utilized, it could feed the half of Africa just from that one little island. You understand? So the potential for me is not the mineral wealth what many of those people will come there to go and look for, like oil and diamonds and all them things there, right? But it produced by itself and for itself, right? Is the agricultural side is the big wealth, in my opinion. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Me, look, I just, I'm gonna would love to Sandra come in on this, but as I'm saying, I've been studying the whole situation going on in Jamaica for a few years. I'm looking back from the past to the future, and with Andrew's owners promise for a few years, the media in Jamaica, I don't know. I think when I really look at them, because I look at the Guardians and the newspaper that come out of Jamaica, and I look at the comment section on Jamaicans and diaspora across the world, and the interjection on what's going on, and they really understand. They know political history. They know what the PMP party did for the last 30 years, and they know exactly what Andrew Holness is doing for this time. I've never really seen a government in the world that really catered to the ordinary people. Doesn't matter, it's not just Jamaica alone. Wherever you go, the government caters to who is spending the money, the people that's doing things. That's a fact. So there's no government that says, we're going to come into power. And probably, I don't know, let me just leave it here. I don't see the government coming to power and so they're going to be catering specifically for poor people. Because they're looking at growing and how to look on the international market.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're going to go for people that's making the country grow and looking good on the international market. In saying that, I'm speaking to a lot of people like that, we call IGLA or small business people in Jamaica. And the consensus is where people had to travel to America or China to buy stuff. The Chinese are flooding Jamaica, where clothes is very cheap in Jamaica.
Yes.
Cars is very cheap in Jamaica. Food, it's up to them to plant because I think they're importing too much food. But those two main things are very cheap in Jamaica. Like, there's so much things that you can get in Jamaica right now that when you go there and see people, things that they have in their house or things that they're buying, you're thinking, wow, they have it in Jamaica. So it's not even point for me to bring things from England and America to Jamaica. So it's already there. And that enables people, small people or people that want to sell, you could actually invest, you could buy stuff, you could sell it back and you could make money. So on an overall level, people in Jamaica can actually create small business and get opportunities to buy the products there and sell, get a turnover to make a profit. Speak to a lot of people that's in Jamaica, they're doing that right now. So I'm taking that into consideration. One of the problems which I hear, and Empress can correct me on that, Sandra, there's a problem with having people in Jamaica that's consistent and showing professionalism when it comes to work.
Yes.
We'll come today and they don't come tomorrow. If you come to work for 2 weeks, they get paid, you don't see them again.
Yeah.
And if you try to talk to them, they just leave and they go away and they find someone. So every employer in Jamaica that got business, I talk to them, the first thing they say to me, they got a problem with the people coming to work and being consistent. And I said to myself, when I go to Jamaica, one of the things I would love to develop maybe an agency where, you train people up to get them signed up and have them like a supply chain where you supply workers to different
Yeah, like an employment agency.
Yeah, like an employment agency. Get young people, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You can do some things to them, get them in that mindset, and then actually have them as employed. And so you have them on rotation.
Yep.
So that's one of the things I think probably would stop the gap. But in terms of opportunities for work in Jamaica, there's a lot of business that's dying for work. Everybody talks because I talk a lot of businesses in Jamaica, and everybody's got the same problem. When they come to work, they want to offer, they want to find a takeaway that they can sell. If you behavior, they get victim of less work. And if you're not really probably purpose secure serious in certain way. They probably even want to hurt you because you're trying to stand up for your business.
Yeah.
It's a very touchy era. And as a result of that now, that's why you see what's an Empress Center day. When you go into even the ghettos, you're surprised that one of the biggest wholesale there is a Chinaman in there, because if one of their brothers is there, chances are they will want to come and tax him or ask him to pay, you know what I mean, what they call dues. You know what I'm talking about, you know what I mean, for them to protect you so that they don't, instead of them come and say, all right, you have a wholesale fund, then you have to pay £10,000, $10,000 every month. Make sure protect it. If they don't, then they'll kill them. A lot of small businesses in Jamaica have to be going through that because they're not really protected in the sense of where they are geologically located. So you have these issues. So when I combine everything what I described, I'm just wondering, is Andrew Holness really doing a good job? Can he really do better in terms of the situation that he's, just going to land on this. There's recently, Jamaica has been called up to join the BRICS nation. I don't know if you're aware of the BRICS nation,
What's that? Could you repeat that one again?
The BRICS nation.
The BRICS nation.
BRICS, BRICS.
Oh, BRICS nation.
So it consists of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so these nations are coming together to work globally to do trading, and their money is backed by gold and precious minerals, not my paper money. So
you mean similar to what Gaddafi wanted to do?
Similar to what Gaddafi, but it's not going to be on Africa alone, but it's similar. But they can't stop them because they're already there. They've been around for the last 7-8 years, so they've been in existence.
Yes.
And this is one of the reasons why you see what all this thing going on. Russia economy is not going down because it's got these partners that they're trading with. So basically, all their money is not backed by paper; it's backed by gold and precious mineral and oil. You know what I mean? Something tangible. So the South African president invited Andrew Holness to become a part of that. Jamaica to become a part of that. So as I'm saying to you, looking at the situation what we're talking about, we have to take everything into consideration and wonder if what he's doing is such a bad, can he have done anything better given the circumstances where the PMP actually raked Jamaica for the last 30 years. Raked Jamaica. And if you look on, as I said, if you look on the financial, you can see the difference between when he's in power now from the time the PMP was in power for the last 30 years.
Well,
so, he's getting
I see that because he's just following the same pattern as the previous Prime Minister Patterson, right? And he's making his exit plan. I doubt very much if he will stay on the island like Patterson, right? He'll probably be an international envoy of some kind, right? But I personally, I can't see how he is doing anything for the masses, because obviously, we look at it as a whole, right? We're on the outside, so we're looking on it as a whole. And if you have people and people from up and down the echelons ladder, right? It's not everybody. I'll get it, not everybody. Yeah, it's not everybody, because it seems like, just like in the UK, the government only talks to the middle to upper class, right? They're not worried about poor people. They're not worried about we. Yeah. So,
and it's all across the board, yes.
Exactly, and that is exactly what they're emulating there in Jamaica, in my opinion. Hey, let me bring Sister Sandra upon this.
Let me just run on this quickly. For the last 30 years, the PNP has put a freezing on police salary, teacher salary, fireman, all of this, etc.
Yes.
So Andrew Holness is coming now, and I can see all the demonstrations going on in Jamaica. And I'm looking, he can't give them the money that they want, because if he's going to raise that pay, it's going to go into the deficit of the budget.
Of course.
That's going to make the country plunge. So people might say, he's unfair, but they have to remember that PMP for the last 30 years froze those wages. So now he can't just come in and give them the money that they wanted. And I'm not advocate for Andrew, I'm just telling you the facts of what's out there.
Oh, yeah. No, economically, they're on a very, very thin line of maintenance and progress. Very, very
Yeah.
thin line, right?
Mm.
But at the same time, what I would concern myself with is the monies that has been owing and outstanding for years in some cases, where they've not paid wages or released monies in like financial wages for years, just the back pay alone, is one of
And
those.
IMF, the money on the IMF has gone down. The money that Jamaica with IMF, they've almost paid off most of that. That's one thing I think since he came into power. Just to put that on the record, yeah?
Okay then. All right. Let me bring in Sister Sandra. Sister Sandra, that's our brother Icon. That's our brother Icon.
So there's a lot of what the brother has said that listening and the politics here, I agree with. So in terms of the pay for the teachers, I know last week I was saying that the teachers were taking industrial action in the classrooms, as in down in their sticks, down in their pens and pencils, and refusing to because of the pay and the conditions. Now they on Monday agreed to the revised offer.
Okay. What have they agreed, or has the union agreed?
Well, the union, and this is the thing that struck me in terms of the unions. So they renegotiated. So they've not told you what the change has been, what the uplift has been, and the detail behind that. But they did sign an agreement. So the person who signed the agreement wasn't the head person within the union. It was their deputy who signed.
Okay.
So that in itself, to me, I'm thinking to myself, if the person at the top is not, and they're not in hospital, they're not sick, and they're not dead,
so
but they were unavailable to sign the papers on Monday afternoon, Monday evening, when it had been agreed. And the reason they gave is that they were busy. They had other things on. So I'm thinking, you're the head of the union, you're the spokesperson, the representative, and you're not able to put down the meeting that you were attending. Like I said, you're not dead. It's not a family member who's died or dying. You don't have to be in the hospital. So why is it that you're not agreeing? You're not going to put your name to that piece of paper. So that's one thing, but they've agreed that. And then in terms of the employment and the opportunities, just even in terms of here and the asking people to do work. So that means you're prepared to pay them. You've got the currency that when it translates from whether it be the UK pound, the American dollar, the Canadian dollar, when it translates to you get the money's there, the money's in your hand, and you want to pay someone to do the work. So you negotiate with them in terms of the work and what's going to be done. But the behavior does frustrate you. It frustrates me and frustrates many other individual who have lived abroad and asking for work to be done. And it comes back to the conversation we were having yesterday, Brother Aston, where I say, was it yesterday or Saturday? Monday, where I say, Monday, you don't give hungry man pudding to carry because they're going to yam the pudding. They don't do the work. They work shy. But is it only in Jamaica? I'd say they have the same problems in the UK. There is work in the UK, and there are individuals who turn around and say, I ain't going to work in a supermarket. I ain't going to do this. There are some things that some individuals wake up out of their bed in the morning and say they're not choosing to do. In the UK, they can get a form of benefit or subsistence that will enable them to live. In Jamaica, they don't have that safety net. But it does mean, because there is an opportunity to leave from one job and go to another, they will work 2 days, get 2 days pay, and then move on to somewhere else if they need to in order to make a money. But it is frustrating in terms of the quality of work and just the apathy that is the energy just that isn't there. But again, last week I spoke about the politics. Now, politics in this town is it's, they now are alluded to the fact that they're encouraging people to get onto the voters register so they can vote. Andrew Holness, as an head of a party, he's doing what other heads of the party had done in the past. From a politics point of view, they are skirting very close to the wind in terms of what they're doing for some groups, and for other groups, you're thinking to yourself, I just want the basics to live. I just want to know so that the systems are in place and you ensure from a party point of view, the systems are working. And there's a group of people in Jamaica who don't have the systems in place. So when I say systems and changing the systems and the politics, and I'm thinking to myself, it doesn't make sense. But in terms of the parties, they don't want to change it or don't think they need to change it because there's other things that they're looking at. So the IMF and the brother was saying in terms of the funds have almost been paid off. I'm not sure whether or not it's been paid off, because I'd say at what cost? Because a lot of the industries, and Jamaica's followed the UK in terms of selling out their industries. They're selling it off to the highest bidder, and the highest bidder is a foreign entity whose energy isn't necessarily in terms of helping and supporting the country that they're doing the work in. Their energy is to reap out as much as possible as they can, as quickly as they can, and to move on. So I'm not 100% sure whether or not, from an IMF point of view, where they are, Jamaica is in terms of paying off that bill. And I just pray that if it is close to being paid off, they don't put themselves back in a situation where they need to go out and ask for help again. Because that's the boomerang effect that sometimes happens. You get close to paying off your debt, and then you find yourself back in the mire once again. But it is frustrating in terms of the work. And even in the week, there was a work fair in Montego Bay, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, and it's for, I can't remember which class of workers or which industry, but I remember hearing them advertising that if you're looking for work, you can go down to Montego Bay, and I think it's the hospitality. And if you're looking, you can go down to Montego Bay, and effectively, it's a job fair for the day. So there is opportunities and there is work. It's just whether or not the individuals, the young people, wish to work, and there is a lot of individuals who are work shy, regardless of the politics. They're just work shy. So that's my initial thought. And like I said, the politics, they're encouraging more people to go out there and to register to vote. And I'm not sure what the percentage is, because I know last time we were speaking, Brother Aston, you said in terms of the UK, I think the current Prime Minister or party was elected on a 30 something percent. It was under 40% in terms of turnout. And I don't know whether or not the turnout in Jamaica is any higher or any lower, but I do recognize that the turnout in the UK, you can be anonymous to all intents and purposes. But in Jamaica, they equate the political party to a color and a symbol. And if you're wearing this color, then you're clearly representing this party. And if you're wearing this color, you're clearly representing the other party. And woe betide you wear that color on the wrong day, on a day called elections, because you will get yourself, you'd have to answer as to why you've not gone in there and voted. And that's the thing that I dislike in terms of the political system in Jamaica. The fact that they insist on the color. It's not only the prime minister in a tie or a red, depending on their politics. You've got individuals
green shirt,
walking down the street in a green shirt or a red shirt, and you're thinking, no, I don't want to go into the ballot box with a red shirt or a green shirt. I want to just go into the ballot box and vote for the party based on their politics, but their politics will suit the color of shirt that you're wearing.
Maybe they're okay. Let me just see if I do this properly. Yes, I'm doing that. Yeah, maybe the way how they are actually doing their politics as well, right? It is driven a lot by polls, public opinion is driven by that over there. I know that. Okay, yes, it's a small island, but it is influential throughout the majority of the Caribbean as well. It does make a big swathe right throughout the whole of the Caribbean in the way how it is in itself. Although there are, we have the Republic of Barbados now and everything, and there's other little places, enclaves of individualism. But in saying that, right, remember, it is still held accountable to the King, the King of England, right?
Yes.
So it can't move too far from the tree.
No,
it can't move far from the tree itself. So, yeah.
And even in terms of the polls, the recent poll is showing that it's now neck and neck in terms of both of those parties. And one of the things which the brother had alluded to was the various civil servants and the pay scale and the request for higher wages and the various call to action in terms of withdrawing of labour in order to fight their cause. And they are saying that because of the circumstances and because of how that's been dealt with across the board with the various groups, whether it be teachers, fire, etc., police, the Andrew Holness, his popularity has waned, and they're closer neck and neck with his opposition party. But what they've done is that they've shifted the goalposts. So they were due to have an election this year, and it's been shifted to next year. They've used COVID as an excuse.
Yeah, as they would do.
If you can, why not? They're using that as an excuse, and But for me,
it's an extra 12 years, 12 months. 12 months.
Yeah, 12 months. They've shifted it. It seems like they've shifted it a couple of times, shifted it by a couple of months, and there looks like there's going to potentially be a next year rather than this year. But I'm looking at Andrew Holness, and the guy's he's been the head of the party for a little while, and my reasoning is he's the first political leader that I've seen whose hair has not turned grey or white over the time that they've been in office. He's the only one.
He's the only one.
Obama's hair turned white because of the nature of what you're doing.
Yes, right.
The
That's right.
UK, whether it be the man or the woman, their hair has turned white because it's. Why am I worried about my appearance? I've got papers to read and sign. I've got policy to introduce. If I'm worried about my appearance, to keep the hair looking black and sleek, because if I'm a young dude, my thought process is, where's your energy going? It's not about the looks. This is about, are you representing me, or are you?
But then something, you know how life can be, and we can be shallow in them ways there as well.
Yeah,
Some of us do look on people and just say, "Oh, this man is getting old." No, why?
Yeah, but then
it's done.
If that's what you're doing to impress the people, then again, you're the wrong person in there.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Brother Icon who want to come back in there again, right? So let me just do some adjustments here. Go on, Brother Icon.
Yes, here your deliberation. I agree with most of what you said. As I said to you, obviously not because I would say I'm born Jamaican, but I really keep an eye and listen to the context on the ground. And I can tell you from my opinion, I think the poll in Jamaica is driven by the media. The media in Jamaica is very biased towards Andrew Holness. I said to you, I'm not a Labourite, but there's a lot of things that he's doing in terms of, okay, they would advertise when he went down and mash up those people's house on the land that they said was stolen land. But throughout his term, he has built a lot of houses and gives to people. Lots of houses. In fact, I think it's in the hundreds now, and I've never seen that on TVJ or CPM yet. In regards to his looks, right, Jamaican people are very bossy.
There you go.
And them call him bro God. Yeah. For me, I admire the way that you can see him running. He emphasizes exercising. You see him get up in the morning, he runs, and he's talking about fitness. And I know you said his hair doesn't look great, but his hair doesn't necessarily need to look great if you know you're not worried. Because that shows you that his mindset, I don't think it's not because he doesn't care, because even PJ was a little wicked bastard, and his hair was great. And you don't need to do the work and worry if you're confident in what you're doing. And I will look at Andrew Holness. One thing I didn't like with him, I didn't like about the COVID situation went on in Jamaica. And from that time, I was really burnt on fire upon him. But then it makes me think back and say, a little country like Jamaica with Andrew Holness, if the WHO and these global elites has got a hand, and all these major countries in the world was coerced to push this mandate of vaccine. If Andrew Holness went against that, they could have taken him out. So I look at how much and there are certain things that I see do that he give us a sign, like he's saying, look what I'm trying to do. For example, even it was a show when Prince William came to Jamaica, he made a statement. And even when I tell you about the BRICS nation, Andrew's the Prime Minister, where he's good with America, he's good with Russia, he's good with China, he's good with everybody. He doesn't really take sides. So you can see him going around the world, all the global world leaders, and somehow I don't really see any of them getting any problem with him. So I don't see where he's one-sided, and he probably gives his opinion on certain world politics that's going on. But I'm telling you, there's a lot, and I can see that they are very biased towards him, because a lot of the good things that he's doing is not highlighted. But as soon as something is not done bad, you can see him start being lighted up. And what you have to pay attention to, you see the news media, you have to look into the comment section. And you see most of the diasporas, in Jamaican diasporas, they are in favor with everything that Andrew Holness is doing. Because they understand, you see, as you're saying, from me and you, Sister Sandra that's in the UK, as you're saying, we can understand how the system works. And then when you go to Jamaica and you're saying to yourself, you know, these people can do a lot better for themselves because they kind of make too much excuses. Because as you say, there's a lot of job opportunity right now in Jamaica. Because the great minds in Jamaica are leaving because they think the grass is green on the underside. So they leave for America, they leave for England, and so forth and so on. So there's a lot of vacant space in Jamaica that people can work. But the consensus of every Jamaican, as soon as they reach certain way, they want to leave and go foreign, they want to go foreign to work, and they don't want to stay in Jamaica. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. And the wickedest thing here, when they leave and go to foreign, they do even worse work. Like I used to go for them when they want to work in the factory. Some of them go to foreign and clean toilets.
Yeah.
And in Jamaica, they would never do that, and it's something that happen all the time. So it's like you ignorant to what you don't know, and that's what I'm saying. There needs to be we got a hard program done for young people, but there needs to be a drive. And I said to myself, if I was in Jamaica, I would have done the same. Company was telling you about Albert Astor, for example. If you start to work with me now, you have a week in the back or 2 weeks in the back. So when you come to work, if you leave before time, you're not going to get paid. Because you have to implement some systems for them to have some discipline. And I'm saying this is the problem with most Jamaicans, they're not disciplined. And it's my country, and I'm not leaking out on them, they're not disciplined. Because when you come to these places, you can see the difference about discipline. Because one of the things what we're doing here is because the way the system is set, so you can't really get away with certain things.
Yes.
You understand? Because the system is set to make sure that, even if you don't want to go, you have to go. Because if you don't go, you're going to lose something.
That's right.
But in Jamaica, man can say, yo, if you don't give me money now, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to burn your business place, I'm going to come shoot you. And I'm going to say, no, I don't want to tell them, here's the money. You understand? So it's like the way the system is set. So, I hear what you're saying, so, but I don't know with what's going on, even the election right now. For me, PMP's got no party. Mark Golden, he's got no party. And the finance minister, that's because that's all he does. And he's going to be in line to the leadership, because he's the one that Andrew's going to pass it onto. And he's very good with the way you do the finance of Jamaica, and I think he's the one. Because right now the PMP parties and scrums, all they do is bicker, and they look at all the negative things that Andrew does and they jump on that, and they keep going to the news. And the people that are not really buying it. If you really, the most people that's really fighting against Andrew now is the ignorant, the ignorant people, probably even the people that don't understand how economics run and how the country runs. They're the one that said, boy, more money for pay, and he shouldn't raise up this, and he shouldn't be in this, but you have to look at why you have to do it. Because if you want the country to grow, everybody has to make sacrifice. If you look on a global scale and economical scale, the most ordinary Jamaican who doesn't really study geopolitics that way would understand. But as I say, the diaspora them, they are really supporting of Andrew Warren, because I look at the comments across the world and I hear what they talk.
But of course, he's going to appeal to those, because that's where he sees his money, or main part of his money that comes in. Because I've heard him mention it quite a few times, right? Of how that we need to call the people from foreign, or them people that are foreign, and get your Christmas money and send it come, and get your holiday money and things, And he said, wow, you actually encouraging people to do that. You understand? So he realize how things are going. But the thing is that if all those sources of income was stopped coming in, right, they wouldn't be able to survive. Jamaica wouldn't survive in its own right, in that way there, right? And what you're saying as well is very, very true with the media biased.
I'd agree with.
Yeah.
There was one of the presenters was asking a question, and kept on going on and asking the question, delving down, asking the question. And then someone rang up later and said they had to question whether or not the presenter was it a clone, because they don't normally go that hard when they're asking the question. Normally when they ask the questions in terms of the current political party, they ask the nice, simple questions whereby they're going to get the answer that justifies or agrees with the...
In line.
Yeah, it's in line with what... And at least 2 or 3 people rang up, and someone sent a text in, and she read out the text, and she was talking about it, but it's exactly as what you've just said.
You know? Yeah, but one of the things we have to understand, right? They are in out of ideas and the way how things are, because basically the future is very extremely unpredictable at this time, right? Everybody's in survival mode, right? The world is in survival mode right now. You understand? If anything is thriving, it's going to be a rarity, you know? It's just something that you're in the right lane to find a space to go through. Yeah? It's not a case of you can predict it, because like even if you look on the stock market, right, you have to micro analyze that now, right? You have to micro analyze it. There's one who was it now? There was a show that we did here yesterday. A brother was doing a show yesterday here, and he was doing the money. It was the money show, right? Yeah. And then he was saying that, boy, it's like foreign currency drop, right? But usually, what it would do, it would drop to an extent, but it would bounce back, right? But this one just kept falling and falling. But if you looked at the news behind why it was falling, you would understand why it was falling. But if you're just looking at the actual stock itself and not realizing and understanding why it was happening, then you would say, whoa, wait a minute, and you're trying to catch it all the time, you know, or putting in your stock drops or losses. Yeah. But the thing is that just like everything, it goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. Yeah. You just got to catch it on when it's at the bottom to come back up again. Yes.
There's no coming back up now, because they want everything to go down.
Yeah.
The digital currency. That's the plan. They want.
Oh yeah.
So they say, you know what? Let's do this. You know, to do digital currency. That's a long-term plan.
Of course. But they listen. As I said earlier on in the program, right? The new generation that is there now, they're using their phone to go and pay for things, right? They it's like they find that touching money is a dirty thing. Yeah, right. So, and that's going to be global. Because there are going to be like those industries what will say, no, we don't take cash. You have to use electronics or whatever. Yeah, or car.
What he's done is he makes President Trump international prime minister of the country. He's PR in terms of the media. He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook, he's on Twitter, he's on TikTok. So he's appealing to the younger generation.
Of course.
And he's himself in line. So I'm telling you, this election right now, and then in terms of the standard that he has he was changing the old game in terms of how to make a prime minister look. Anybody who's going to come, they're going to have to come really good to be that.
Yeah.
The same thing with Mark Bowling. I mean, it's almost with Mr. It's almost wise, trying to hold on to church, because they know they got no party. There's going to be other hard from our observers. So the media, when people say the polls are closed, that's what the media is. The media are usually run by most of the GP oligarchs that have been there from before. And they make sure that it's most of TV, that's all these press companies, the cleaners, the TV media are run by oligarchs from the GP.
Of course.
Nobody wants a number. When you want a number, because don't say something different, the election comes. They're not for fun.
Okay, King Man. All right, King Man. I see our next presenter ready coming in knows, you know. So we have to deal with this here. Yeah. All right. You see. Oh, you all going know. All the corner, yeah. Thank you, brother Icon.
Thank you.
Limited. Let's have a little summary before we move off of this, right? Because I know that we this is kind of a heavy subject.
It is.
this for this Friday, you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially when we're coming into this time where it's a usual rest up time now.
Mm-hmm.
But even though, you know, we need to be able to face up to these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And understand them and get a good perspective on this, how it affects us personally,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously to hold ourselves um, in good steadfast to with knowledge and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And don't go with ignorance into a lot of these conversations as well. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we approach them, you know. So what you say, sister? What you say?
No, I'd agree with you because historically we will often, as individuals, will have conversations which we feel comfortable speaking about, call it
Mm-hmm.
sport or music, and conversations we don't feel comfortable speaking about, call it politics and or religion.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to raise our level of conversation amongst ourselves so that we can get involved with eye and the ear of being open to having those conversations
Mm-hmm.
and raising our individual and collective knowledge so that we
Mm-hmm.
can support and move forward.
The thing, what one of the things that's always on my mind, obviously, for us to I won't say survive, for us to evolve, right, for ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
for us to evolve for ourselves, we need to be able to be thinking in a creative way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us to do that, we must know exactly what is needed, right? And then act accordingly for what is needed for the future of our evolvement. Greetings, brother. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You understand? So even if we understand what is happening now, we're not doing enough. We need to be in the development and involvement for the future.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we need to be. That is what we need to be part of. Either we are pushing the future or supporting the future, right? Our young people are the future,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're even long after we gone,
They're
right?
gonna.
Because we have a life. We have a life. Say I talk in centuries, right? So even if we're here for 100 years,
Mm-hmm.
right, there's something after us.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't stop when we stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? And we
Mm-hmm.
would like, obviously, yes, we would like a betterment for the future generation, right? But we have to be talking and living and preparing for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Longevities. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, this is very important that we take that.
We have these discussions, definitely,
Mm, mm,
definitely. Unless we intend to check out, as in today, we do need to be mindful of, and we do need to have a seat around that proverbial table
mm,
in
mm,
terms of decisions that are affecting us.
mm,
The
mm,
easiest way to have a seat around the table is to get involved
mm,
and to make it a conscious decision
mm,
rather than a shifting table and you don't even know which seat you're sitting in.
mm. Exactly, exactly, exactly. Imagine now we're sitting at a round table and we're all equal, as you like to say,
Mm, 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 mm,
right? But we must have that understanding and be as one.
mm,
Not one person that sit at a separate table and plan this and plan that,
mm.
and then all of a sudden everybody looking over their shoulder and say, "What am I do this?"
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
No, 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 don't. Now don't work for we. No, don't work for we. We have to be sitting at a proverbial one round table and done.
Mm,
Yeah?
mm, mm,
All right, then. All
mm.
right, then. Right, my sister. Let's draw it to a close now. Let's draw it to a close.
Okay. We've had some really rich conversation from a political point of view, but from a technology point of view. And we've had engagement And for those who didn't engage this time round, we're going to be back.
Mm.
We will be back. And you'll be invited to engage because there'll be other things to talk about. None of us are standing still. So over to you, Brother Aston.
All right then. Right then. So we're gonna reach the top of the hour, and I'm gonna say have a really, really great day. Over the next few days, get out, go to some community events, engage with your people, your family, as well, right? And as I always encourage you to do, make contact with somebody you haven't spoken to for a long while, or call them or go visit them or something. Come out the house, man. Come out the house. Right? With the winter time done. Right? Winter time done. Come out the house.
Hibernation is now. Yes. Hibernation is over.
Exactly. Right? Live your day as if it's your last, yeah. All right then. And yeah, until we meet again. Our next presenter is in the house, right? Dr. Oakley is in the house, so we're gonna be going down the journey of the health and wealth journey. Okay, so thank you, my sister Sandra, for joining us this morning, and remind us of the time that it is there now, so that these people really appreciate why you are doing what your sacrifice is this morning. Go on.
It's 7 minutes to 4.
What?
8.
7 to 4.
Yeah, 3:53 a.m.
Oh my gosh! Look at this. Right, you see what the sister is doing. Okay, all right. So show your appreciation, family. Show your appreciation. All right, and we shall meet again. We shall meet again Monday morning. Okay.
All right then. All right. See you Monday.
Okay. Then. Take care. Now. Galaxy family. As I say, our next presenter is ready. Is here and he's ready for you. And I know he's going to come and bring some powerful talk to you as well. Okay, so until our next meeting, be safe. Yes, sir.
Yes, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man.
Fix.
Yeah,
I saw that this morning. I was like, this is stuff we need to start our morning with.
Yeah.
I haven't had those in a long time.
That's what I was thinking.
I used to have the artificial ones, the ones that used to have in the little bars.
Yeah.
I used to have them a lot in New York.
Okay.
To see them fresh, I was very enlightened to see them fresh.
This is the thing about London, right? We get, because of the eclectic people that we have here,
exactly.
We get a variety of foods and fruits, right? And that you probably wouldn't get in normal circumstances, like if as you said, you're in America and everything, so you get your more corn-based type of foods in your place, you know. And then here we got like Mediterraneans, European, so they have their fruits and vegetables. Yeah. So it seems strange to somebody who probably come here to think, what's that? What's this? That, you know.
And the thing is, I noticed that when I came first time, that the variety of stuff is much better, very healthier than in the States. So I kind of gravitate towards that. Get-go.
The only thing now is to get the price right, because some of it. So you go down to the West End and it's ridiculous.
They want to make it worse because they want to give us a hard time. I don't see why this government is so bent on giving the people a hard time. Makes no sense.
It's the them and us. Simple as that.
But we vote them in, so how is it them and us?
No. Oh, careful what you're saying there. The last 3 Ministers.
Oh yeah.
Okay? Huh?
I don't know how they get it with that.
We put a clown in there because they said, well, if you're going to appear stupid, we put a clown in there. So that's why I got Boris. But the joke spin back on us, isn't it?
The case with Trump and these guys.
Yeah. It was just a circus. The whole world was a circus, man.
They got Trump because British America. Oh, angry they were of Obama before.
Of course. You say, well, you tried the black, now try the white.
That's still what they try to say. Trump was a real one, but he was a bastard. As far as president.
I was watching a movie yesterday. It was based on the education system in America. And it was what happened. The school got burnt down, but it was in one of these places where the people were, like Ku Klux Klan was running the place.
Yeah, right. It was we call it white. It's in California. The whole place burned down.
Yeah, the whole school. You know?
And then
And they like what happened in the end is that the woman who was representing the black, right, they hated each other. But the empathy of the black woman couldn't allow the child of the racist to go through what they were going through in the mental institution. So she just, she talked to the people then and put them in a nice place,
right.
And I thought, you know what? Most of us probably would do that because it is a child and they're urgent. We would help them,
It's civil, yeah.
right? Irrespective of what their parents are like, right? And then they just said, "Why, you know something? I used to hate these niggas. Why these niggas showed me something?"
Exactly.
And then he voted for the thing and which swung the vote. And then as it was in the closing credits, you actually saw them. Both of them as they who they are now. Type of thing. And he said, well, he's still got his ways, but oh, wow.
But it's just, but the prejudice that they have against us is just skin color. Nothing else. So it's not like saying
everybody will go through the same thing,
right? We all go through the same thing, but you have one side of the group who is hating on us because we look a certain way. But they also know what we're going to produce, as the way we look. We're going to produce more than them. That's why they behave like that.
What the hell? What did he do? Right, let me swap this over.
Another page in my song for you, in celebration of you simply being you. Yeah. We know that you are what you mean to me. Yeah. How you bless my heart with humility. As I breathe you, I elevate my soul. Any doubts remain, you take control. Cast fears away, bring peace of mind. With your love everlasting, hold me close, keep me wrapped up in charms of you, love of you. Keep me wrapped up in those arms of you, charms of you, love of you.
Your virtues are ample and satisfied. With my love in return is amplified. All that you are, what you give to me, yeah. Couple with your grace and your serenity.
As I breathe you, I elevate my heart. Yeah, any doubts remain erased from start.
The recording thing.
Oh yeah, you're doing that.
Research it. Search recording.
Is that your music playing?
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, somebody you know? It's who is that? A new artist.
Who?
Brown.
Lloyd Brown.
Oh, yeah, I like the way it's produced. It's nice and chilling. Right.
Yeah, like the people while in the morning. There's a time for them things. We have presenters who do that.
Which one bring down this song again? That one over there?
Yes, the first one.
This one over here?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Okay. And this one bring up the when they call in.
Yeah, so
So the fucker over here.
this is what we're doing.
How it feels complete. Yes, the lioness and the lion, strong like iron. Nothing can price in that way. It's a leg that's a rock down, like that down. Can't pass me a sundown. Keep your love everlasting. Hold me close, hold me close. Keep me wrapped up in those arms of you.
Arms of you.
Charms of you, love of you. Keep me wrapped up in those arms of you, charms of you, love of you. Keep me wrapped up in those arms of you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song by Lloyd Brown. Yes. I love that sound. It's from what I understand, it's a new album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff. Music, very important. Very important, you know, when it's done in the right way. It's good for the soul, mind, body. Soul, mind, body. And this is the Soul, Mind, Body Show. Balancing your soul, your mind, and your body.